as far as animal cruelty goes towards animal testing, without animal testing in the past, present, and future, we would not have antibiotics, cancer treatments, vaccines, and every other understanding of the human body and ways to cure disease. So if you are anti-animal testing, then you should not get vaccinations, don't go to the doctor, and don't go to the doctor in general. It's one thing to talk about animal rights, it's another thing to do something. If you got such a problem with animal rights, then never take another, go to the doctor ever again for any treatment, because otherwise you're a hypocrite. And if you don't think animal testing to create antibiotics and vaccines has not helped animals themselves, then think about this. 70% of all antibiotics in America are given to feed animals, such as cows, chickens, goats, pigs. So that means more than half of the antibiotics, more than that are given to humans, are given to animals. And for the sacrifice of some animals to medical testing has given us a world of possibilities to not only help us, but to help animals themselves. I mean, I had a dog with cancer, and without animal testing of future pioneer animals, then my dog would have not got an extension of 8 years after his life after his cancer treatment. Now, right there is an example of a sacrifice for the to pioneer not only the human race, but animals themselves to be able to live healthier and happier. And also, you have to think about this. Farm animals would not even live if it was not for our slaughtering or eating of them. We give them a reason to live. They were bred by us for slaughtering purposes in the first place. I mean, the cow, pigs, and chickens, the modern day ones, are genetic changes from the original models. So without our giving them, so we are playing God. Without us wanting to eat animals, there would be no cows, chickens, or pigs to live in the first place. So we are almost playing God and giving them a reason to live. We are allowing life of new species such as cows, chickens, and pigs. So we are playing God and giving them a reason to live. Whether you want to say that if they're tortured, which does happen in some cases as much because the cattle industry is quite brutal. But nonetheless, what is better, no life or a brutal life? I don't care who the fuck you are, whether you're a person, mouse, cow, or anyone on this planet, you're going to have struggling in your life. And it's just as much of a bitch in the pen or being tortured as it's outside. Look at all the humans that are tortured and put into war and genocide. No matter what it is, there's going to be torturing. And we're giving cows a reason to live, which means that they would not live without us. And I think a crappy life is better than no life. Life, as shitty as it could be, is better than no life. Until it gets to that point. But nonetheless, you don't have cows committing suicide. So nonetheless, they're probably happier than we are. And here's another example, like the buffaloes were endangered and thought they could go extinct at one point. Now, I'm a huge fan of buffalo meat. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's very comparable to beef. It tastes very close. I personally like the taste better, or at least as comparable. But by us having cows there to eat, we are giving ranches a reason to breed buffaloes, to keep them living, so that we don't have to worry about buffaloes ever going extinct. So we're giving buffaloes a reason to not go extinct, and that is a very positive thing. And I mean, sometimes you have to have sacrifices for the greater good. And it's like I said, cows and chickens and pigs would not be living without us. And a bad life is better than no life. And as I stated, everyone on this planet suffers because surviving is a bitch. And cows would be just as fucked in the wild with wolves biting them. I mean, you could have mountain lions grabbing them and shaking them. And no matter what, they're suffering. And for us, giving them life is better than no life. And I don't see anything wrong. I mean, if there's animal testing and it has benefited not just humans but animals themselves, then I think that's a greater good, and it's worth the sacrifice. So you gotta make sacrifices for progression. There is no free ride to this. There's no clear answer. But I think it's the right answer. And if you don't like that, then don't get vaccinations. I mean, I know people don't like vaccinations sometimes or antibiotics. The fact of the matter is that if they made us go from living mere lives of 30 to 40 years to living 80 years and doubling our lifespans, I'm sorry, but it's worth it. And I think it's worth it. But, I mean, as probably everyone on this planet, except for some fuckers, I am against deliberate animal cruelty. Cockfights, dog fights, I hate those fuckers. And those are the kind of humans I see nothing wrong with killing, because deliberate animal cruelty to get off on is horrible. And I don't fucking condone that in any way possible, because those are a bunch of fuckers, and those are subhumans who do not deserve life. But most people who are eating animals or animal testing is for a purpose. And I'm sorry if it's sometimes cruel, but for the greater good and the sacrifice, at least we are using things. At least we're not just getting off on it. And I think it's okay to find out about our genetics. We find out about our genetics and all genetics by finding out animals. Through genetic studies, we're finding out how diseases have been caused, how mental illness is caused, why some people get cancer, others don't under the same circumstances. And we are finding out more, and we could not have this possible without animal studies. And it is worth the sacrifice. It really is. I mean, think about all that has come about that. And I mean, you have vaccinations for, like for instance, dogs have Lyme disease vaccinations that we don't even have. And that is a better good that also comes about from animal testing, that also helps animals themselves. And I'm sorry, but I think that's worth it. It's okay, you know? I mean, it's not the greatest. There's no clear answer in this world ever. That's why sometimes you have to take a sacrifice for some to make a greater good for all. And I'm sorry, but that's how I feel.